Don't come. It's family only, my sister texted. I stared at the message while already holding the gift. You'll just make things awkward, she added. 3 weeks later, I heard my name over a loudspeaker. My name is Danielle Brooks, and I'm 34 years old. I work as a public school teacher. Nothing fancy, just steady, honest work. I've always been the quiet helper in my family, the one who shows up, supports, and never asks for credit. My sister Rachel, on the other hand, has always been seen as the successful one. Bigger house, louder voice, more attention. Growing up, I was the one they overlooked, the one they assumed would always stay small. I wasn't rich or glamorous. I didn't have designer clothes or a flashy lifestyle, but I had something they didn't expect: consistency, patience, and a way of building things quietly over time. I helped raise my niece, Emma, more than anyone admits. Homework, late night talks, even paying for her school supplies when things were tight. Still, when it came time for her biggest day, I was the one they told to stay away. And that text? It changed everything. If you've ever been pushed aside by people you showed up for, hit that subscribe button. I know what it feels like to give everything and still be excluded. Share your story in the comments. I read them all. Let's remind each other we matter. Click hype and let's go. I spent the entire weekend before Emma's graduation wrapping the gift I'd carefully chosen for her. It wasn't expensive. Just a leather journal with her initials embossed on the front and a handwritten letter tucked inside, reminding her how proud I was of everything she'd accomplished. I was planning what to wear when my phone buzzed. The text from Rachel felt like ice water. Don't come. It's family only. I read it 3 times, convinced I'd misunderstood. Emma was my family. I'd been there since she was 7 years old. I called Rachel immediately, but she didn't pick up. 20 minutes later, another text came through. Emma doesn't need distractions today. Then another. It's better if it's just immediate family. My hand shook. I typed out a dozen responses and deleted every single one. The next morning, I opened Instagram and saw the truth splashed across my screen. Distant cousins I barely recognized were tagged in photos. Neighbors. Even Rachel's yoga instructor. The caption read, "Perfect family day." There I was, the person who'd spent countless nights helping Emma with algebra and college essays, completely erased. In one photo, Emma stood stiffly between her parents, her smile tight and forced. She looked uncomfortable, trapped. I wanted to show up anyway, to stand in the back and just be there for her. But I chose dignity instead. That night, my phone lit up with a message from Emma. "I'm sorry. I didn't get a choice." That's when I knew. This wasn't about space or logistics. This was deliberate exclusion, orchestrated entirely by my sister. The family group chat kept buzzing for days after the graduation. Plans for dinners. Conversations about Emma's college plans. Pictures I wasn't in, memories I wasn't part of. I watched the messages pile up, and not one person acknowledged me. It was like I didn't exist. Then I ran into my cousin at the grocery store, and she awkwardly mentioned the graduation party. "Oh, Rachel said you couldn't make it," she said, her tone apologetic. I smiled and said nothing, but my chest tightened. A week later, I overheard Rachel at a family gathering I wasn't technically invited, but happened to pass by while dropping off something for my mom. She was holding court in the living room, voice loud and confident. "I worked so hard to get Emma here," she said, laughing. "All those late nights helping her study, keeping her on track. It's been exhausting, but so worth it." My breath caught. Those were my late nights, my tutoring sessions, my encouragement when Emma wanted to quit. Rachel had taken every single thing I'd done and claimed it as her own. I didn't confront her. I walked out quietly, got in my car, and sat there for 10 minutes trying to process the betrayal. Emma started texting me more after that, but her messages were short and careful. "How are you? Miss you." I could tell Rachel was monitoring her. The family had rewritten history, and I was the chapter they'd torn out and thrown away. So I stopped trying to defend myself. I stopped explaining. I pulled back and focused on my work, on my students, on the life I'd been building quietly all along. They wanted me invisible? fine. I'd let them think I was. What they didn't know was, I had been part of Emma's school life in ways they never noticed. For the past 3 years, I'd been volunteering through the district's mentorship program, working directly with students who were struggling academically or emotionally. I didn't do it for recognition. I did it because someone needed to show up. The program connected me with teachers, counselors, and administration. I formed real relationships there. Strong ones. People saw my work. They saw the hours I invested, the care I gave, the difference I made. I'd helped Emma with her college application essays during those same sessions, staying late in empty classrooms to make sure every word was right. I had a plan they never saw coming. Not revenge, but truth. I never told my family about any of it. Why would I? They'd already decided who I was. But the school knew. The principal knew. And unbeknownst to me, they'd been paying attention all along. Someone important had noticed everything I thought was invisible. His name was Mr. Thompson, and he'd been principal at Emma's school for nearly a decade. I'd worked closely with him through the mentorship program, and over time, he became more than just a supervisor. He was a mentor to me too. Kind, thoughtful, and deeply invested in his students. One afternoon, a few days before the honor ceremony, he pulled me aside after a program meeting. "You've changed lives here, Danielle. Don't let anyone make you feel small." I looked at him surprised. I hadn't said anything about my family, but somehow he sensed it. Maybe it was the sadness I couldn't quite hide, or the way I'd started keeping to myself more. He didn't press me for details. He just reminded me that my value didn't depend on being seen by the people who should have seen me all along. Meanwhile, Rachel's social media presence grew even more performative. More posts about being a devoted mother. More praise from people who didn't know the real story. The family continued planning events without me. I stopped waiting for invitations. Emma's discomfort became impossible to ignore. Her texts grew even shorter. Her tone felt distant, like she was walking on eggshells. Then Mr. Thompson mentioned that the school was hosting an honor ceremony to recognize community members who'd made significant contributions to student success. He smiled when he said it, but I didn't think much of it. I'd been overlooked my entire life. Why would this time be any different? The ceremony was held in the school auditorium on a Thursday evening. I almost didn't go, but something told me I should. I slipped in quietly and took a seat in the back row, my coat still on, ready to leave the moment it was over. The room filled quickly. Parents, students, teachers. And then I saw them. Rachel, her husband, and Emma, sitting front and center. They looked polished, proud, completely unaware I was even there. The lights dimmed. Mr. Thompson stepped onto the stage and began his speech. He talked about the unsung heroes in education, the people who gave without asking for anything in return, the ones who showed up when no one was watching. Rachel shifted in her seat, smiling. She thought this was about her. I could see it in the way she straightened her shoulders, prepped herself for applause. Then Mr. Thompson's voice cut through the room. "Please join me in honoring Danielle Brooks." The air went still. Heads turned. Whispers spread like wildfire. I froze. Emma's eyes went wide, then filled with tears. Rachel's face drained of color. I stood slowly, my legs shaking, and walked down the aisle. Every step felt surreal. Mr. Thompson continued speaking, listing specific contributions I'd made, mentoring students, volunteering hundreds of hours, directly supporting Emma's academic success. The applause was thunderous. When I reached the stage, he handed me a plaque and shook my hand. I looked out at the crowd and saw Emma standing, clapping, crying. And I saw Rachel, sitting frozen, her carefully constructed image crumbling in real time. After the ceremony, Rachel approached me in the hallway. "Why didn't you tell us?" I looked at her for a long moment. "You never asked." Emma broke away from her parents and wrapped her arms around me. "I tried to tell them," she whispered. The truth was out, and there was no taking it back. I didn't stay long after that. I thanked Mr. Thompson, hugged Emma one more time, and walked out into the cool night air. I didn't gloat. I didn't rub it in anyone's face. I just left, finally at peace. Over the next few weeks, Emma and I started rebuilding our relationship on our own terms. She called me directly. We met for coffee. She apologized for not standing up sooner, and I told her I understood. The rest of the family became distant, uncomfortable. They didn't know how to face me now that the truth had come out. Rachel sent a text 2 weeks later. It was short, vague. Something about misunderstandings and moving forward. I didn't respond. I didn't need revenge. I just needed the truth to stand on its own. I kept teaching, kept mentoring, kept showing up for the people who truly valued me. Being overlooked had taught me something important. It taught me strength. They tried to erase me, but the truth has a way of calling your name when it matters most. Have you ever been excluded from something you helped build? That feeling cuts deep, and I know I'm not the only one. Share your story in the comments. Subscribe if you've ever been pushed aside but kept going anyway. Your voice matters here. Click hype to help this story reach others who need to hear it. Your story has power. If you felt a connection to mine, please subscribe and share your journey in the comments. Every hype you give this video helps empower someone else. Thank you for being here and for listening.